this is Joe Lair. I'm sitting in my basement. We call it Joe's Subterranean Garage, J-Sig. There's no I, but it's silent. You know, it's not silent, but it's inferred. Okay? So what we're going to do today is we're talking about solos and fills. Now, fills and solos are really kind of the same thing, only when you're playing a solo, you know, you're it. Everybody, if you're playing with hopefully some other players, they're all supposed to be supporting you. You know, you're it. Which, you know, hopefully you're ready for, and this sounds good. That's a solo. A fill is kind of like a little mini solo in between, usually vocals. So like if, you know, somebody's singing a song and there's a little bit of dead space, you know, where they're just playing, you know, chords or whatever, going to the next verse of the song, that's when you can do a fill. So basically, if you want to piss off the singer, all you got to do is play fills all throughout the song, really loud, and if you got a guitar amp, do it distorted. If you're a drummer, just keep doing rolls through his song, especially when he gets to the tender moment. You'll probably end up losing your job as the filler, but you'll have your moment in the garage. I'm kidding, don't do that. We'll talk about that. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use a song, and our band, Joe's Subterranean Basement Band, J-Sig, is working on a song called Don't Think Twice by Bob Dylan, and one of our members is going to be playing the solo. So that's what made me think about maybe doing this to give some tips on how that might be accomplished. So the song is Don't Think Twice, and it goes, ain't no use in saying wonder why, babe, if you don't know by now. So that's the basic of the song. It's in the key of G major. And the basic chords that we're using are G, D, E minor, and C. That's it, all right? Later on in the song, there's a little twist where we'll get into that, where we actually change keys a little bit and go to a kind of a bluesy thing for a moment, go to a Bob Dylan. It's an interesting part of the song, but for the most part, it's going to be just the major, you know, those chords in the G major scale. Now, I made a little instructional video about how to play the G major scale, but that's it. You can go view that if you're, you know, there's different places you can play it. Hit that big note at the end. So we're going to use that G major scale, and then, so what you do when you're soloing, or what I try and do, is find the scale, and in this case G major, and then look at the chords you're playing. And there's a thing called, if you're not familiar with it, it's called arpeggio. Now, a chord like a G chord is, not to get too much music theory, there's another day, another time for that, but a G chord is made out of a G, a B, and a D. That's it. Those are the three notes that go into a G major chord. And this G that I'm playing here, if you think about it, so there's a G, I'm going from the 6th string down, G, B, D. So there's our chord. Then G, B, D. There's only three different sounds in there if you're doing it right. And you know, I tend to add this. I put that D in there, but you can play it open either way. So the arpeggio, now that's a chord, that's playing the chord on the guitar. The arpeggio is playing the notes of the chord. So that's the G. So if I went all the way across the fretboard on this, not the fretboard, yes, across the fretboard, I go. Didn't play it very well, but that's the idea. In other words, it's this G. These, you know, so G, B, D, G, B, D, G. So that's the arpeggio for G in this position up here. I'm at basically the 3rd fret up in here. That's the area that we're going to be working with today. The same thing goes for like the next chord in the thing is D. So the D is a D, F sharp, A. That's a D major. So we can play, you know, D, F sharp, A, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp. Those are all the notes of the D major. And we do the same thing for the E major. Which is E, G, B. Okay? And then final chord is the C, which is C, E, G. So throughout the fretboard, we start, on the 6th string. So we got C, G, C, B, G, C, B. So let me redo that. That's the C arpeggio on this position. So when we're doing the song, we're in G to C to D. Excuse me. It starts G. There's no outtakes on this. To D to E minor to C. So what I'm thinking about is, first of all, my G major scale. But I can play the arpeggio. The first chord's a G, so I can play the arpeggio. It doesn't have to start with the G. It can start off with this note here, which is a B, right? But that's in the G. G, B, D. G, B, G, B, D, G, B, D. So a B, a D, and a G. That's another way to play a G chord, by the way, at that position, if you weren't familiar with that. So we're going to start off with the G, don't use, and sit down one, and we go to the D. So that's a G. So I can start off with, then I go to D. There's the D arpeggio. So it's, we're just going to go G to D right now. So I'll go. And that's, how you could structure a solo. Now you can throw in some passing tones, which will confuse it, but to make it a little more interesting, so it's like I'm going to do this same section again from G to D, right? So I go. So I'm just playing the G arpeggio and the D arpeggio, D arpeggio. But I'm going to throw in an A over here, which is not in either one of those chords, but it is in the key of G. So you can always kind of borrow one of those for what I call it, but I think it's traditionally called a passing or a moving tone. It's not like you're not staying there. You're just passing through. Hey, it's like a truck stop. All right, think about this A as like a truck stop. You're just gonna go get a burger and a Coke and get, you're on your way. So see what I did right there? I'm in G. There's the A. Back to the G. There's the D. So da 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 da. So I can finish it off. That's still part of the D. Remember we were talking about that earlier. So da 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 da. So that's using passing tones when you get a little more advanced to make it a little more interesting. But I would suggest you just start off with just, so we'll play the G. And by the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to play the whole song. And I'm going to put the middle part, the solo part, I'll play that without singing and just kind of play the rhythm so that you, at home, can practice and play along and keep going at this ad nauseum until you're sick and tired. Can the man change his shirt at least? I mean, why this one? Well, this is what I wore last night. And we were in Joe's basement last night, Joe's subterranean garage, and anyway, here I am again. So we're gonna do this. There's a G, E minor, same thing. If you can play over that, here's the E minor. Those are 3 chords, the 3 notes for the E minor. You figure that out at home. I'm not going to show detail of that, but basically that's all the notes in this 3rd fret up, even including the open strings of notes that are in the E minor that you can use when the song shifts from the 3rd chord from the to D minor. So you can go. There's the C. So you can just play along to this. D, E minor, C, G, D. I'll do it one more time. G, D, E minor, C, G. So the way, I might work out a solo, and so I'll start off, let's see if you can hear the chords. So I'm going to do that same chords, but you're not going to hear them. I'm going to play what I would call a solo over this. I'm going to be just using arpeggios and a few passing notes, like we talked about that A, and I'll play that section. So. Right there, and I was actually looking at the guitar because it makes me more comfortable. I should be up here being cool. Yeah, man, I don't need to look at that. But that's what I would just do is just, you can start off with just playing a G. If you know a G chord, you can just play. Then go to the D and go. Then the E minor. Just pick out the notes. Once you finger the chord and just, pick out the notes that are there. Oh, through that G is not, it's in the G major scale, but it's not part of the D. All right, and then here's the tricky part of the song. Good old Bob Dylan with the middle part. He's in G for a while. Then he goes to G7th, which is not in G major. So we're changing keys, but don't worry about it. We can still stay in G major. What the difference is, this is a G major. Here's a G dominant 7th. This is a G, that's the G major 7th, which is part of the G major scale. But that's more of a blues type of thing. So he's still in the dominant 7th, which is F. All I would do with this is when it comes to that. Girls at the break. So you play in G. Then when it shifts to the G7, you can just hit a F. There's an F. And it'll sound cool. You don't have to get all busy. You don't have to say, I gotta change keys. Just throw the F in there, while you're working around. Or you can do a B flat. F will sound cooler because that's the actual note there's the big change. G major to the, what makes that sound so dynamic is the fact that we've thrown that F in there. So you could, in your solo, you could play it. And it goes to the C and does the same thing. C major, and then we go to C7, C dominant 7th, and that's a B flat. So those two together, that section of the song, G. Let me try that again. Here comes the 7th. C, the 7th, there's that B flat. And that's the basic theory of it. I mean, it's just start out slow. You can just, like I said, just play the chord, just pick out notes. Because if you play the chord, like the G chord, right, all those notes are in the arpeggio of G major. They're all, if there's a G, every one of these is either a G, a B, or a D. So you can just, then we go to D, finger the D, you see this D here? That's not in there, so leave the 6th string out. But all of these are in the D arpeggio, so you can, just so you can get used to it. And then, the same thing with the E minor. Just pick out what you want, just play one note at a time. You don't have to play a whole bunch of notes, so it can just be. Now the E minor, C, C, G, D, C, D, G, D. I messed up. So G, song starts off with G, and now we go to D. Now it's E minor, C, back to G, D, forgot the old song. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go ahead and play the song as if I was, a performer, and you are my sideman. You're the sideman in this one, so your job is to play the fills. So like, for example, ain't no use to sit down and wonder why, babe. Now fill. You stop filling when I start singing. If you don't know by now, fill. And a fill would be like, ain't no use to sit down and wonder why, babe. Now we're in E minor, so just something like that. That's all you need. Just a little something to keep the interest going. Then, if you don't know by now, whatever works. So you play the fills, you play the solo. I'm gonna sing the song, and hopefully this helps you. Ain't no use to sit down and wonder why, babe. If you don't know by now, it ain't no use to sit down and wonder why, babe. It don't matter anyhow. When you rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason and I'm moving on. Don't think twice, it's alright. It ain't no use in calling out my name, babe, like you never done before. It ain't no use in calling out my name, gal. I can't hear you anymore. Wishing there was something you could do, say, that might make me change my mind and stay. We never did too much talking anyway. Don't think twice, it's alright. Take it. There ain't no use in turning on your light beam, the light I never knew. It ain't no use in turning on your light gown. I'm on the dark side of the road. I wish I knew, thinking all the way down the road. I once loved me a woman, a child I'm told, but I gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. But don't think twice, it's alright. goodbye is too good to work out. So I just say fare thee well. I ain't saying you treated me unkind. You could have done better, baby, but I don't mind. You just wasted my precious time. But don't think twice, it's alright. Don't think twice, it's alright. Well, that's it. So good luck, good plan, and I'll be doing something else in a little bit. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.